Hi and welcome everyone. This is the Hobo Prepper and I am Friar Tuck. Okay, so I am doing my live stream again today because yesterday I had technical difficulties and that I did a proper live stream and that I ended it properly and so on and so forth. So anyways, this is the Hobo Prepper and I am Friar Tuck. And I have well, it says that I'm live, so let's see if I am still live. Let's see here. Well, we'll see if somebody shows up in chat. Otherwise, this will just be uploaded. But anyways, 2,000 kilobits. So let's see here. It's kind of, we got overcast and we've got, okay, it's just gonna have to be like this. Okay. So I am having to figure out how to be able to do this in low signal area. Okay, quiet in some ways. And it is, hi, say hi in chat. Let me know that you guys can, that you guys can actually see me. So, but anyways, Mr. Paranoid, he has a big channel and there's a couple of, people that have decent sized channels that are watching, that watch me. And honestly, I'm really flattered that I have bigger channels watching me. But we were talking about like, okay, what is it? What is the value that I can offer? What is it that I can do on trail? And so just to, he kind of gave me something to think about, something to ponder. And because yesterday, in order to make it as far as I did, I really juiced myself up on caffeine and energy drinks, and I'm telling you, it wakes your mind up, but it does not wake your body up. So it kind of had an adverse effect on me. So I didn't fall asleep till probably about 2 o'clock this morning. So I'm a little tired, but it is raining here, and I was able to raise enough money to be able to stay one more night here at the Pinhoti Outdoor Center. I've got a busy next day or two because I've got quite a few videos that are going to be uploaded, so stay tuned, guys. And I'll read you the email that I sent to him because I think that this is going to be the direction of the channel and kind of how I'm going to help you guys. And I would love to, let me make sure, okay, I would love to have your guys' input on this. So I told him, I think you're right. I'm realizing that I need to slow down and take my time if I'm going to maximize my efforts for the channel. I said that I was going to do a live stream in the morning and I was going to talk about this idea. And, I kind of wanted his thoughts on it. And so one of the first things that I think that, one of the first stuff, and he's able to, sorry guys, I am kind of a little tired. He has his stuff and he just kind of wanders out in the wilderness. He hunts his own food. He does his own thing, goes into town from time to time to trade, usually like his pelts or of tradable items. And that's kind of how they would make their money to do the things that they need to do. Whereas me, we're modern society, I've kind of got to adapt to the modern way of living. So, and so I think that before we saw the intervention of automobiles in large cities, this is the way that people used to travel. And so this is kind of what you see your modern day homeless take the lessons from this and use them to pass on to viewers. It's going to take some time to actually calibrate what it is that I can pass on to you guys. And this is where, help in the comments, one, or even two, being able to have, some sort of interaction with you guys to kind of help me help you. Okay. And so number two, with the destruction that's coming in the near future, we're probably going to end up going back to medieval times, or at least the way society is going to degrade down to that, because we're going to lose technology. We're going to have to go back to primitive tools and things like that. And so I think that, part of myself to be able to, what's the word I'm looking for? To be able to withstand the different temperatures that are out there. And so those different temperatures, you know, whether it's cold, whether it's snowing and stuff like that, because if I'm going to wander, you know, I'm going to have to just get used to it as much as I would like to, be able to, you know, stay warm and stay in, you know, in nice places and kind of migrate with the weather. I think that sometimes that over time, hey, if anybody's in chat, please say something. So that I know that the chat is working, because I've been having technical difficulties. I did an update on Prism, which is the live stream software that I use, and it seems that's why the live stream went for 6 hours last night. It was over after about 45 minutes, guys. So you know, I'm still kind of waiting for that to kind of suss out so that I can go in and I can edit it down, but. You know, just if there's anybody in chat, if you can say hi in chat, I would appreciate it. Okay, there we go. All right. So just a guest. All right, 9:15, getting closer. All right. Hey, Cherokee, nice to see you. Okay. So, all right. Yeah, that was my problem then, is apparently I didn't have my chat view on. Okay. So, you know, it's so, you know, moving forward on this, I think that we, society, we're gonna end up losing a little bit of the we're gonna end up losing a lot of the access to technology. Somewhat primitively without the technology. I think that might be one thing that homeless can teach people, but you know, the homeless now are as dependent on technology as the rest of society. So I think that a lot of homeless may not be able to survive what is coming. But, you know, so we could be a little bit ahead of the game on this one. And I think building a network with homesteaders and stuff like that. So I know quite a few of you are homesteaders, and some of you are, you know, are going to end up needing help to be able to keep your homestead going, whether it be just to feed yourself and your family, or to because you're able to commercialize it. Because you got to realize with what's coming, if we do slide back into medieval times, a type of technology, homesteaders are going to be your local farmers, because it's going to be hard to transport from farm to table when, you know, you take corn from Nebraska, you send it to China to get processed, then you send it to Brazil to have something else done, and then you bring it back here to the States. Well, our supply chain could not handle that. And so I think homesteaders, I think that one of your strengths is going to be in the future is that you will have the ability to support your local community with goods and produce. So making sure that, you know, you have the things that you need. And even just like back in the day, as the population dwindles, you know, to where, you know, we have a lot more open land. Where we have a lot more open land, I think that that people like me that come through, you guys are gonna want some sort of assistance. And so I think in the beginning, as things start to degrade, you're gonna want to have access to that extra labor, whether it be just giving them 3 hots and a cot and a little bit of resources to get on to the next town or to the next area that they want to go, so that they can wander. You know, and another thing is one of the things that I'm going to ask you guys, because I know some of you guys are along the trail and some of you guys are avid hunters. By the time I was old enough to go hunting, I went to live with my dad, and my dad is one of those guys who totally relies on the benefits of modern society. He never even fixed his own car. He relies on somebody else to do it. So I never was taught hunting. Now, my mom, she used to go hunting, but I was never old. You had to be like 12 years old to be able to have a gun permit and be able to go out and go hunting. So I just at that age, because I went to go live with my dad at about 11, I didn't get access to that, and I think that is going to hurt me long term. And so if there are some of you that would like to kind of show me and help me understand not only trapping but understand hunting and the basics of it, because I want to get to supplies, because if I have meat, you know, probably, you know, if I have meat, at least I have the proteins that I need to be able to keep going. There will be other access to other things that I will need going forward. Also, number 3, our ancestors used trails as highways before the invention of the automobile. I think the automobile is on its way out over the next 20 years. It will be important for prepping now and in the future to know how to navigate functional trails. Right now, the trails that we have are meant for leisure instead. With the other travel channels that are out there. Because I'm looking at these trails, one thing I wish that some of these hiker channels would do is kind of really go over the logistics of it, versus like, okay, here's the backpack you need, here's the gear you need, here's why you need this gear, but its own benefits. For example, just getting acclimated to the to the Florida Trail. I mean, that took me a minute because I had to figure out, okay, how do I get into towns? How do I resupply? How do I know what areas I need to skip over, and how do I know what areas I don't need to skip over? Okay. And, I think that as Mr. Wesley reminded me, is that back in the day, trails would connect at one point. So you'd have like a crossroads or an intersection, and you would have little signs that say this way to St. Louis, this way to New York, this way to Washington, this way to Orlando. And then that way you would be able to figure out your way through. Well, I think that over time, as society degrades, as we are no longer to use the automobiles, I think that those types of intersections and that type of trail knowledge is going to be important. So that's going to be something that I'm going to be working on, because you want to get. So Mr. Wesley reminded me that back in the day, many trails would connect at one point with a post pointing in directions for each way the average person wanted to go. I think it would be important to build something like this as well. And I think that this will make me, I think that this is making me different than the average hiking channel or even prepping channel, because I'm not doing this for pleasure, although there may be pleasure in the views and the experiences, because the Appalachian Trail is supposed to be one of the most majestic trails that there is, because that's why it's so popular, is because of the views. And those views are going to be nice and I can show them to you, but it is also a highway. It's a way to travel, and when you're out in the forest all the time, you get to see that all the time. So it's kind of like having your coffee every morning, and when you get used to it, you're not like sucking it down, because you're not going days between cups of coffee. Once you know that you get to see it all the time, it's not going to be as awe-inspiring as living in a city. So that is and I think the views and experiences, what I'm hoping to pass on is the beginnings of the future lifestyles for America. I think that this is eventually what we as a society are going to be moving towards. And so I think that as the channel, what I have to offer you guys, the signal keeps going in and out, but if I'll show you, well, you guys can see the clouds behind me. It's been misting off and on all morning. So I will actually be inside today. I was able to raise enough money to be able to stay indoors so I can stay out of the rain and keep myself healthy. I also tried to see about creating my own little rain tarp, but my little footprint is not what's the word? It's not long enough. So I will be meeting up with Prophet later on in the next couple of weeks, and him and I, he's got some gear for me, and one of it is a rain fly for my for my hammock, because I think once I get to that point where I actually have the rain fly, the weather will not be as big of a deal, because I can just put my gear and set up my hammock and just kind of like hang out underneath a canopy all day for the rain, instead of having to worry about getting inside so me and all my gear does not get soaked. So anyways, do you guys have any questions for me? I see that there's a couple of you that are in chat that are still left, and I know it's kind of early in the morning on, what is it today, Wednesday? Not everybody has the weekdays off, and I know a lot of you will end up seeing this in the live stream replay. Again, Paranoid is kind of helping me work out how to he's helping me work out how to make how to structure not only Patreon but the YouTube channel so that it actually becomes a competitive channel. Now, this is my plan B, but it seems like, you know, because I keep saying, you know, YouTube and monetization is my plan B, but I'm still waiting to figure out what my plan A is. And I think that YouTube is going to end up, if I follow this plan, YouTube is going to end up being my way of it's going to be my way to be able to move in, use it as a plan A, because, you know, in my viewpoint, and this is the way I kind of live my life, is that, you know, knowledge is free, time is money. And, you know, because, you know, if I wanted to, I could be doing all this on my own, and there are a lot of people that are doing what I'm doing without doing YouTube, and they're not really passing on or taking the time to share the knowledge. Well, my knowledge, you know, I'm taking the time, I'm doing the videos, I'm doing the research, I'm living the experience, and I'm kind of getting this done in my own little way. And so this is where, like I say, knowledge is free, time is money. And so therefore, taking my time to put all this together, the monetization and all the benefits that YouTube has to offer, plus Patreon and all the benefits that Patreon has to offer. So anyways, anybody else here in chat who's still left? So I see I got Cherokee and Just a Guest. And like I said, I know it's early in the day, and normally I do this in the middle of the day, but or towards the end of the day. But I've got quite a few videos that I got to do. So Alabama Road Walk, I'm going to give you the logistics of it, tell you how to navigate it, kind of how to get the resources that you need. And, you know, because there are some times where you're gonna have to use a road walk to be able to do logistics to get from one trail to another, because it's the way it is. The trails are not as interconnecting, especially here on the East Coast, as you would like them to be. It's not like the West Coast where, you know, you can just pull out a map and a compass and navigate yourself in the general direction of the next trail and just wander through the wilderness. And, you know, the wilderness is actually very, very thick. You know, you don't realize it until you start looking at the sides of these trails. And like you guys have seen some of the footage, is that, you know, those, you guys could tell I'm tired. And again, it was because of my own. This is actually a very peaceful place. So, you know, some things that I'm going to be working on is map navigation. But I'm going to have to learn it. I'm hoping that some of you guys can help teach me, like, the hunting aspect and the trapping aspect, if you guys decide to meet me on trail. You know, and, you know, just trail navigation is where I'm going to work at. And the trees are different, the animals are different, everything's different on that point. Hi, glad to see that we got a couple new people. Say hi in chat. If you have any questions about my trip, about what's going on, and stuff like that, please go ahead, say something, and I would love to answer questions, because I mean, this is my second day in a row doing a live stream. Normally I don't do this, but again, because of the technical difficulties I had yesterday, you made it no go with the wind. I don't understand what you're saying, Hobo Thomas. So, and this is, this update to this software really sucks. I mean, they tried, but the way the chat function works is not okay. Hold on. Okay, well, apparently, okay, but you made it, now go with the wind. Okay, yes, you were right. You know, when you said, Hobo Thomas, when you said that there was a cyclone, or not a cyclone, but a hurricane heading, I was like, no way. It wasn't until later that night when I watched Ryan Hall, y'all. Now, that is one of the, I honestly, that's where I get my weather from. He's really good at kind of giving you, yes, big storm is kind of coming my way. And Today and tomorrow are going to be the hairiest part, and then it's going to calm down after that. But this weekend, I don't know. Like I said, I'm kind of hoping there are shelters on the Pinhoti Trail, and I'm hoping to, you know, work my way from shelter to shelter. Do you weight gear or be in great physical shape? You know what? That's a good question. Which one's more important? Your feet are pretty much that's how you get from place to place. And if you don't get your feet used to being on them for that long, and, you know, also taking breaks is important, but as long as you're moving at least 10 miles a day, I mean, it's slow, but you're moving, you know, and, you know, it depends upon how you want to be able to live your lifestyle. Because, you know, if you're moving 10 miles a day, well, that gives you time to make, you know, tools and stuff like that. So like what Mr. Wesley said was that, you know, all he really needs if the world comes to an end is string and a knife, and he's got the rest. Why? Because all he's got to do is, you know, he can create a stone axe, but you need string for that, and you're going to need a, you made it now go with the wind. Yes. Okay. You know, he talks to, you know, that's all he needs to be able to bug out if the world comes to an end, because he can make his own primitive tools. He made his own bow, he makes his own arrows, he was showing me how he uses like the tendons from a deer to be able to make the string that he needs for his bow, you know, and things like that. That's important. But, you know, you got nothing, a knife and a string, as long as you know how to make your own primitive tools. You know, if you're moving, honestly, I did not start out in the greatest physical shape. I have lost over 100 pounds now. I weighed myself last night. I am now under 200 pounds, and this is the first time I've been under 200 pounds since I was about 23 or so. You know, and you know, it's been about, you know, it's been that long since I've been under 200 pounds. The thing is that when you get out on trail, the trail will put you in shape. Now, if you're going through swampland and marshland, being in good physical shape is probably going to be more important than the weight of your gear. But also the thing is I would say that stretching and getting yourself moving in the right direction, as far as making sure that you're limber enough, I think that is probably more important than being in shape. Because again, the trail will get you in shape. You may move slow to start with and then pick up speed as time goes along, but having a lightweight gear, that's going to be the making long distance and making short distance. If my pack was 50 pounds, well then, you know, it's going to be a lot harder for me to make 15 miles and my feet are going to be a lot more sore. Whereas if I have a 25-pound pack and I'm not in the greatest shape, well, my feet are still going to be okay. My feet are going to be able to carry me, and I'm going to be able to move a lot greater distance. Michael, I hope that kind of answers your question on that, but this is just my ideas. It's my opinion based upon my experiences out on trail, because, you know, you think that riding a bike would put your legs in good shape, and quite frankly, a bike uses different muscles than walking, and, you know, that is much different than, you know, again, it's much more different than walking. So my legs have had to get in different shape as I've done the trail, you know, and again, the trail will put you in shape over time. And so I wouldn't worry too much about being in shape as much as the weight of your gear and the stuff that you have. I mean, so when I started out with my pack, I had a 5-pound tent. Now I have maybe 1.5 pounds with a hammock. That made a huge difference, not only on my feet, but also on my back. Your pack, I would say, is probably the most important thing that you can have. Reason being is because, like, the way, okay, so I have problems and I'm still working on adjusting it, but the way that my pack comes down is I try and keep it up so that the back part of my pack leans back and it's pulling my shoulders back versus putting pressure on my shoulders. Because when it puts pressure on my shoulders right here in my collarbone, it gets really, really tense. Okay. And that tends to make for a very long and painful day as you go along. So like sometimes I got to loosen my straps and I'm kind of readjusting all the time. And so by taking that 5 pounds off, it takes less weight, or it takes more weight off of my hips, because I'm trying to I'm using the belt to be able to, and I raise it a little bit higher than I'm supposed to. That way I could put the weight on my hips versus putting it on my shoulders. As far as water goes, I used to carry a lot of water. Now I carry a Gatorade bottle, which is 28 ounces, and that's my drinking water for the day. I usually need to fill that up at least twice throughout the day. And then I have a 20-ounce bottle, which I use for cooking and for cleaning. And so, that's kind of how I structure my water. But I'm still adding about 5 pounds just in those, 50 ounces of water. And that makes a huge difference, not only on your shoulders and your hips, the padded inserts and stuff like that. That might make it a little bit more comfortable over time, but you got to realize, so I learned this being a fat boy, is that like if you wear Nikes or Adidas or Reebok, you should have no more than 180 pounds on your feet at any time, because the shoes are not geared for heavier weights. Whereas like New Balance and Skechers, they're meant for people that are a little bit bigger. When I get a chance and I'm actually able to have funds saved up in some form or fashion, I think I want to get away from these trail runners and get onto New Balance, because I know that it will be able to hold my weight and that the padding will last longer, because the best pair of shoes I've ever had was New Balance. And they look just like the trail runners, except for they may not have as much traction. But they are pretty good. So I hope that answers your questions. Anybody else have any other questions that they would like to have answered as far as traveling and hiking and stuff like that? Because I mean, on some sense I'm a novice, but that also gives me a steep learning curve to where I can share with you things like, because if you've never really gone out and hiked and all of a sudden now you have to bug out, you think, oh well, I know how to walk and I can carry the weight, but you don't realize the long-term wear and tear that it does on your body until you've gone 500-600 miles. And I've done over 500 miles, I know, and probably closer to 600 miles. And it is definitely more I've had to learn a lot of lessons on how to lighten up my pack. Once I think an internal frame backpack is good. My big problem with the internal frame backpacks is that they're more for looks and for short-term use. The external frame backpack that I have is, that's durable. But that adds 5 pounds, and that 5 pounds makes a difference. Just by taking the tent out of my gear, made a huge difference, not only in my distance, but in also how my feet felt for the next couple of days. Now, the thing is just like anything, you get used to it, and then all of a sudden your body just starts going, oh, okay, well, I'm going to start hurting now versus, hurting less. Okay. So it's some things that I'm learning, as I go along. And another thing is you don't want to allow yourself to get too fatigued. So the mistake I keep making on trail is that I like to push myself. I'm looking at kind of like the same thing I did on a bike. I'm looking at distance, I'm looking at speed, and I'm not really paying attention to, oh, well, I need to make sure that I'm rested, that I'm aware and stuff like that. Being out here in the woods and, following trailblazers, if you start to get fatigued, one of the worst things that'll happen is you go off trail. Like I walked a mile past my turn for Flag Mountain yesterday. That would have been devastating to me. You don't know how far back you got to keeping my body well rested. I don't mind going. I could go 7, 8, 9. Because the thing is if I stop at 3 or 4 in the day, well, versus stopping at 7, less fatigued the next day, and I'm going to be able to go. But when I start pushing myself to 20, 25 miles a day, but just the way that my body reacts, because it didn't have enough recovery time going along. So, you know, these are some things that I've learned, and I'm trying to calibrate myself into being a lot more thoughtful about how I travel, because I think that that's going to be really, really important moving forward. So I'm getting to that point. We got probably about another 10 minutes before I start wrapping up, you know, because I usually only go for about 45 minutes to an hour. If anybody else has any other questions or you know, thoughts to add, you know, you know, Thomas, I got to catch up on some of your videos. Oh, one thing that I would like to mention is Hobo Thomas has a great video where the ending's kind of a little weird, but it's funny. Hobo Thomas, you have a great sense of humor, but he's been showing the hobo signs, and I think that's important. And I'm gonna start, you know, at least I'm gonna work on it myself, is I really want to start leaving my marks and hand cramps. I'm gonna start leaving my marks and my my markers along the trail, because I think that you know, if you could go through like the whole alphabet, not the alphabet, but just kind of all the, because you know, if you want to tell a hiker, okay, go this way or go that way, you know, how do you do that? You know, how do you leave markers so that people can understand it? Because I think that that's really important, and I think that you have the knowledge that nobody else really has, and a lot of people would really, it would make a difference for them. So Thomas, if I can put on I have, and that's kind of part of what the Three Notches Trail is, but I've got to do a little bit more research into it. If in the comment section, not on the live chat, but in the comment section, if you have a link for it, for, you know, something that material that will kind of help me understand it, I can either do a video on it or talk about it over time. So you know, I think that would be very important, Michael. So no, other than that, no, I have not heard. I don't know much about it, but I have heard of it. And that would actually be really, really good. I got a ride last night up Flag Mountain, and man, I'm glad I didn't have to walk that. That would have been a bitch. It was, the back side of the mountain is treacherous. The front side of the mountain is like paved and all nice and stuff like that. That's why I had to go up to the lookout tower so that I could get picked up. It was because of how bad the roads are. I mean, like, there was some time you get whiplash on that road real easy, even with 4-wheel drive. But or something like to some good information, just put it in the comment section so that I can read it in my studio and you know, kind of go from there and kind of work out making a video on it, because I think that would be important. Okay, does anybody else have any other questions? Wow, I've already hand cramp. I'm getting hand cramps. I don't know why. My feet were cramping last night too. All right, guys, so I'm gonna start wrapping this up. So you know how to help the channel. If you're not a subscriber, subscribe. If you are a subscriber, don't forget to hit that bell notification, so every time that I come on, whether it be a live stream or a new video, you are immediately notified, so that you can keep up with me and keep going along with my journey. Now, I am restructuring Patreon, so I am going to say, if you want to come over to Patreon and you want to be part of that conversation and kind of helping me figure out ways to you know, structure the content for you guys over there, it's $5 a month right now for Patreon only content, $10 for the live stream replays, but I'm leaving the live streams up for right now. Let's see. You can also, you know, I got my affiliate links and tip jar and all that stuff. So you guys know how to help the channel in various ways. I'm about 85 subscribers away from being able to put my application in to be monetized, and that is my first goal, is to get monetized through YouTube so that I can get into the partnership program, because that will allow me more opportunities. And plus, as I pick up more subscribers and I get to about 5,000 subscribers, then I will have the ability to get free gear. And so there might be gear that you guys would like me to test out, that you're curious about, that you would like to know about. And I can go in through the YouTube partnership program and start doing some reviews and get some free gear for myself. And you know, that will save me money over time as well. And then and maybe even some sponsorships as the time goes along. But again, I'm only really looking to make like 10 to 15, maybe 20,000 subscribers. I mean, anything past that I call gravy on top. And you know, I think that, you know, with the way that the world is going, you know, even though you're not able to put anything in the tip jar, or you may not be able to afford the gear, you know, something that's free, doesn't cost you anything. It's just to be a subscriber, watch the videos, keep up with me, and maybe you'll learn some stuff that you can apply without actually having to worry about putting a lot of money out. Because I mean, this is the poor man's the poor man's platform in a lot of ways. So, all right, guys, I want to say thank you for being part of my community. Thank you for being a subscriber. I truly value and appreciate you. And I hope to see you not only in my next live stream, but also on my next video. Again, I'll see you guys again very shortly. Oh, and keep an eye out. Like I said, I got 3 videos coming out over the next couple of days. So as soon as I'm done here with this video, I got to go charge my phone, and then I'm going to be working on the review of the Pinhoti Outdoor Center. I'm going to be doing the logistics for planning the Alabama Road Walk, and then I'm also just going to update you with some of my trail stuff, you know, some of the footage and some of the experiences that I've had. But anyways, guys, I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.